Welcome to this deep dive discussion. Today, we're going to talk about a truly fundamental issue, the choices and preferences we take for granted. Where do these powerful inclinations come from? Are they purely innate, or is a much deeper mechanism at play? The document we have examines key concepts, knowledge and views, choice, and conditioning. It proposes that the root of many struggles is not surface behavior, but how our deep-seated cognition and daily habits are formed. We will explore the process of conditioning. We'll see how it unconsciously shapes our perspectives and dictates our choices. Intriguingly, we'll look at why we often experience the paradox of knowing something is bad, yet feeling helplessly compelled to do it anyway. Choice is governed by our knowledge and views. The central argument is that our behavioral choices are decisively influenced by our internal knowledge and views. This is our fundamental cognition, perspective, or worldview. If our knowledge and views are flawed, we prioritize transient sensory gratification. For example, focusing only on taste right now, ignoring long-term health. The document suggests this can lead to unconscious self-harm and self-destruction, where a person believes they are enjoying themselves while undermining their health. The document states a person's every choice is determined by their knowledge and views. A flawed perspective misdirects focus. The person recognizes only the immediate pleasure of deliciousness, neglecting health impact. The critical point is that they are completely unaware of the underlying self-harm. Reflect on your habits. What is the fundamental knowledge and views fueling them, and where did that come from? Conditioning, the mechanism that forms our inner views. Since knowledge and views are so powerful, how are they installed in our minds? The core concept is conditioning. The analogy is simple. Imagine someone who works inside a bakery. When they leave, they naturally carry the aroma of cake. Prolonged contact and sustained immersion is the conditioning. The environment's qualities permeate you, that is acquisition or habituation. Condition it long enough, and the scent remains. This process is how we continuously learn and internalize information from our surroundings. It is omnipresent and continuous, operating through family, school, and social culture. It works like learning a native language, by immersion, not by memorizing rules. However, the document cautions that concepts acquired through conditioning are often imperfect or flawed. Even experts may have personal habits rooted in incomplete or incorrect conditioning from their formative years. Conclusion: the many core views conditioned into us since childhood may not be optimal or accurate. What makes this challenging is that the feelings established by this early life conditioning become extraordinarily stubborn and resistant to change. The conflict of knowing versus feeling. The document illustrates this conflict with the nutritionist. They know scientifically that certain comfort foods are unhealthy. Yet, the deeply ingrained feeling "this is delicious, this is the true flavor" cultivated through long-term conditioning is simply too powerful and visceral. It feels more real than the scientific data. This is why people know it's bad, yet struggle to free themselves from the behavior. This is the universal sensation of knowing what to do but being unable to execute it. The act of knowing is rational. But the deeply ingrained habits and preferences, accumulated through conditioning, are embedded in our sensory system. That power which says this feels good and this is comfortable is more immediate and persuasive than abstract facts. Simple intellectual knowing is rarely sufficient to overcome a deeply rooted, sensory feeling. Extreme examples and the labeling effect. The document uses extreme examples to demonstrate the power of conditioning: raw frog juice in Peru, or eating live maggots with blue cheese in some European contexts. The takeaway is that conditioning possesses the astonishing capacity to absolutely lock an individual into their knowledge and views. Through prolonged immersion, an initially repulsive act can be firmly defined as normal, necessary, or delicious. For an outsider, it's revolting. For the insider, it connects to their identity and social rituals. This forces self-reflection: how much of our own must-eat favorites is based on rational assessment, and how much is merely a label silently affixed by the conditioning process? As the document states, it's all nothing but your conditioning. It's a label applied by conditioning, nothing more. The conditioning creates a powerful inertia that defines our normal. Consequently, even with new scientific information, we find it extremely difficult to change. The path to change: establishing a new mechanism. If our ingrained habits stem from unhealthy conditioning, what is the path forward? The document points to science as a reference, offering a more objective and reliable source of knowledge and views. However, scientific findings frequently contradict our most loved, conditioned habits. The real challenge is that it remains exceptionally difficult to reverse decades of deep-rooted conditioning. To achieve change, we must engage in a conscious, deliberate process of reconditioning that must be sustained, condition every day, condition every moment. This is also called establishing a mechanism. Both terms mean the same thing. Through continuous input, the conditioning, and repeated practice, the habituation, we must establish a new set of automated reaction patterns. To change an old mechanism, we must adhere to the same principle consciously and continuously engage in reconditioning. The effort cannot be sporadic. It requires continuously exposing ourselves to correct information and practicing new behaviors until the new pattern becomes the default habit. Fundamental change requires sustained time and effort. We cannot expect instant results. As the document advises, it's a process of patiently establishing a new mechanism. For effective reconditioning, the knowledge must be translated into specific, actionable guidance that is easy to remember and practice, not abstract data. Ultimately, the goal is to make the new, healthy behavior feel natural and comfortable. This journey aims for a state of true inner peace and well-being. Conclusion and final reflection. We have seen that many of our choices are deeply rooted in the process of conditioning. This has formed a powerful set of internalized knowledge and views and feelings. The imprint of conditioning is so potent that it can cause us to override rational judgment, leading to suboptimal behaviors. Our unique personal preferences may be little more than a label affixed by our early life experiences, the long, powerful echo of a past conditioning process. Recognizing the existence and the immense power of this conditioning mechanism is the essential first step toward making meaningful change. This awareness empowers us to consciously choose what information will I allow to condition me? What behaviors will I practice to establish new habits? Understanding conditioning helps us view both our own struggles and the seemingly illogical habits of others with greater objectivity and compassion. This reduces conflict and fosters mutual understanding. To conclude, reflect on this question for the coming week. Given how profoundly pervasive this conditioning process is, could you try to identify one deep-rooted habit or belief in your own life, and sincerely ask yourself, how much of this is a choice I made through independent thought and free will? How much of it is simply the long, persistent echo left by the conditioning of my past life experiences? And if you know of a healthier alternative, how can you intentionally begin the first, perhaps tiny, attempt at reconditioning yourself?